Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. This evening you are invited to gently drift away into a place of majestic peaks and still, glimmering lakes. It's a place where tall evergreens sway in soft mountain breezes, and where the hush of twilight promises warmth, safety, and deep comfort. Tonight you will journey through the velvet evenings of Banff National Park in Canada, guided by soothing words in an atmosphere of quiet wonder. Before we begin, allow yourself to settle into a cozy position, supported by soft cushions or a plush blanket. Notice how your breath rises and falls, a gentle tide that carries away any worries or lingering tension. Inhale deeply, filling your lungs with cool, fresh air. Then exhale slowly, feeling the day's cares melt from your shoulders. With each breath, you become more and more prepared to surrender to the hush of night, letting the gentle story that lies ahead wrap around you like a comforting shawl. Your shoulders relax. Your thoughts begin to wander. Let the world outside grow dim and let this calmness take hold within you now, opening your heart to the peaceful scenes about to be shared. Feel the softness of your eyelids as if they are draped with a feather-light warmth. If you wish, you may let them close, or perhaps keep them only half open, focusing on the images forming in your imagination. Tonight's story will carry you through a landscape dotted with pine forests and cradled by snowy summits. It will lead you through an evening of hearthside contentment, lingering starlight, and the gentle serenade of the wind whispering through tall evergreens. There will be no need for you to do anything more than to listen and let the words guide you ever deeper into rest. With every new breath, you can feel the anticipation build, not as excitement, but as a gentle readiness, a welcoming hush. Let yourself drift. Surrender to the rhythms of the evening and allow this story to gradually envelop you. Now the tale begins in a sweeping valley brushed by dusk, where serene lakes reflect craggy peaks, and a peaceful figure moves through the gathering twilight. In the quiet heart of Banff National Park, nestled between pine-scented forests and sparkling streams, there lived a gentle soul named Rowan. Every evening, Rowan wandered along a small trail that meandered near the edge of a winding river. The path was soft, with forest loam, cushioned by layers of fallen pine needles that muted each footstep. Around Rowan, evening's glow spread across the western sky, painting the clouds in shades of rose and lavender. The crisp air carried a faint aroma of wild flowers, touched with the distant spice of cedar. It was a place of profound tranquility, where even the rustling of leaves seemed to lull the world to rest. Rowan cherished this time of day, when the last rays of sunlight kissed the rugged slopes and the calm hush of impending nightfall began to settle. Here, in this velvet dusk, it felt as if time itself slowed down. Gentle breezes whispered through tall pines, and the nearby mountains stood like silent guardians, their peaks wrapped in the quiet majesty of nightfall's approach. Down by the river's edge, The clear water ran steady and patient, reflecting the soft glow of the sky. Small stones glimmered in its shallow bed, and when the breeze died down, you could almost hear the pebbles shifting gently beneath the current. Further along the trail, Rowan came upon a small wooden bridge. Its handrails were worn smooth by countless seasons of sun and snow, yet it remained sturdy, spanning the stream with quiet grace. The planks creaked softly underfoot, and the gentle sound echoed as if reminding the forest of every traveler who had crossed there before. Standing at the midpoint of the bridge, Rowan leaned against the rail, breathing in the cool evening air. From this vantage point, the entire valley spread out like a living tapestry, woven with deep green forests and shimmering waters. Somewhere high above, the peaks glowed faintly beneath the last golden light, their silhouettes gradually merging with the darkening sky. A pair of loons called in the distance, their haunting song drifting across the water. The notes rose and fell, echoing gently in the open space. Rowan felt a wave of calm flood through them, as if the lullaby were written for any wanderer who paused to listen. The breeze picked up slightly, threading itself through the nearby spruce trees, causing the branches to sway. Each needle shimmered with the subtle silver of dusk, like gentle notes in nature's lullaby. Satisfied with the lingering view, Rowan continued across the bridge and followed the winding path toward a small cabin perched at the edge of a clearing. The cabin was built of sturdy logs, chinked with well-worn mortar, and crowned by a simple, sloping roof. A soft lantern glow emanated from the front windows, casting long, gentle beams onto the clearing outside. Smoke curled upward from the chimney, carrying with it the comforting scent of burning pine. This was Rowan's dwelling, a place of warmth, reflection, and gentle contentment. The front steps creaked as Rowan climbed to the small porch. A rocking chair sat there, facing out toward the mountain range, and on many evenings, Rowan spent hours simply watching the changing light, listening to the day settle into stillness. But tonight, after a brief pause, the door was quietly opened and Rowan slipped inside. Instantly, the interior embraced the visitor with soft lamplight, warm wooden walls, and the gentle crackle of a fire in the hearth. The coziness was tangible, as though the cabin itself offered a comforting hug, inviting all who entered to rest and be at peace. Along a shelf near the fireplace, branches of evergreen had been arranged in a simple vase, their scent melding with that of the smoldering pine logs in the hearth. A woven rug spread across the wooden floor, patternless but richly colored, reflecting the deep blues and muted greens of the surrounding forest. Over the mantel hung a single painting, a depiction of Lake Louise, just a short journey away, its turquoise water framed by soaring summits. The painting seemed to capture the spirit of Banff in its timeless scene, pure, unhurried beauty under a serene sky. Rowan lit a second lantern and set it near the hearth, creating a circle of warm, golden light. Then with slow and deliberate care, Rowan placed a kettle of water near the fire to heat, readying it for a late evening tea. The kettle's metal sides gleamed softly, reflecting the dancing flames. A small wooden table stood close by, upon which rested a worn teapot, porcelain cups, and a tin of fragrant herbal leaves gathered from the local meadows. Tea was a cherished ritual here, a nightly gesture of winding down, a way of honoring the day's gentle close. As the water began to gently simmer, Rowan took a seat in a comfortable armchair close to the fire. The flames crackled softly, weaving shadows on the walls that flickered and curled like little dancers. Outside, the final threads of twilight lingered, faint and dusky, while stars started to appear in the ever-darkening sky. One by one, tiny pinpoints of silver light shimmered into being, as though the heavens were gradually unveiling an endless tapestry of calm. With the kettle softly whistling, Rowan rose, poured the warm water into the teapot, and let the herbal blend steep. The aroma that rose from the pot was reminiscent of chamomile and lavender, laced with hints of mint and wild honey. Slowly, Rowan poured the tea into a cup and settled again into the armchair, cradling the warm vessel in their hands. Sipping carefully, Rowan allowed each drop to bring a subtle easing of the mind, a gentle hush that slipped through the body like the delicate hush of a lullaby. Beyond the cabin walls, night's darkness deepened. The forest around the clearing was quieter now, a hush that merged seamlessly with the crackle of the burning wood inside. Occasionally, a faint rustling of small creatures could be heard as they settled into their burrows. The wind outside settled into a barely perceptible breeze, as if it too were preparing for a night's rest. Soft shadows swayed in the glow of the lantern, and a lingering sense of contentment grew within these wooden walls, a contentment that seemed to mirror the serenity of the surrounding land. Rowan's eyes drifted toward the window, where the silhouette of the mountains gently towered against the star-filled sky. The outline of rugged peaks formed a sleeping giant, a timeless and steady presence that held stories of countless winters, countless thaws. Every stone, every ridge was etched in a quiet majesty that asked for no praise, only silent admiration. And so Rowan sat quietly, letting the rhythm of breath, the comfort of tea, and the warm embrace of the fire bring a gentle unraveling of the day's memories. After a while, the moment felt right for a short wander outside under the stars. Rowan placed the teacup on a small wooden tray, pulled on a soft wool sweater, and opened the cabin door. The night air greeted them with a gentle hush, cool yet not biting, full of the fresh scent of pine and earth. The moon had risen, painting the clearing in pale light and reflecting off the small winding river beyond the trees. Overhead, starlight sparkled through the crisp atmosphere, each tiny gleam a testament to the vastness of the universe. Walking away from the steps, Rowan paused to listen to the night creatures, the soft chirp of crickets, the distant call of an owl, and the gentle rustle of foliage shifting in the faint breeze. This was the orchestra of the forest at rest, serene and unhurried. The moonlight revealed little glints of dew on the grass, and the distant shapes of evergreens seemed to stand vigil, quietly illuminated by silver rays. Feeling a soft wave of awe, Rowan wandered a bit further, letting each footstep glide over the damp grass. The hush of the forest brushed against every sense. High above, the stars were so numerous, they seemed to gather in vast clusters, hinting at the mysteries of ages past. It was a tapestry that invited reflection and calm, stirring a gentle wonder that resonated deeply in the heart. Some distance away, there was a favorite spot by a large old spruce. Its trunk rose thick and straight, bark rugged, branches fanned out like the shelter of a natural umbrella. Here, Rowan settled down on a smooth rock, breathing in the cool air, noticing each delicate sound around them. A sense of peace expanded in the stillness, allowing the mind to float in the gentle cradle of the night. In that moment, all demands of the outside world receded, and the luminous hush of Banff's velvet evening enveloped every thought, every breath. After a few blissful moments, Rowan turned and began the short walk back to the cozy cabin. The lantern light in the window glowed softly, guiding the path like a warm beacon. The cabin door welcomed Rowan again with the creak of its hinges, releasing a gentle wave of heat that contrasted pleasantly with the cooler air outside. The interior held the lingering notes of the steeped tea, weaving together with the fragrance of burning pine. Rowan closed the door gently, latching it with a slow, mindful touch that spoke of gratitude for these gentle comforts. A small, worn journal rested on the mantel, and Rowan retrieved it with a delicate hand. Settling once more in the armchair, Rowan turned the pages in the glow of the lantern. Pressed flowers and leaves marked previous entries, tokens of hikes and forest wanderings. Each entry spoke of quiet sunsets, animal sightings in the early dawn, the shift of light across the mountains, or the subtle change of seasons. Flipping through the pages, Rowan smiled at the tiny drawings of pine cones, sketches of the cabin, and outlines of nearby peaks. The journal served as a reminder that the simplest moments often carry the greatest sense of peace. After reading a few lines, Rowan closed the journal. The fire had burned lower, leaving bright embers that glowed with a steady, rhythmic pulse. Though the night was deep, it was still early enough that a little more of the evening might be savored. From a small stack of kindling near the hearth, Rowan selected a few pieces and placed them gently on the embers, encouraging new flames to catch. The wood hissed and popped, small tongues of fire licking up the fresh surface, bringing renewed warmth and light to the cabin's interior. By the hearth, a plush rug invited relaxation. Rowan slipped out of the armchair and onto the rug, legs stretched toward the fire. The heat glowed against tired muscles, easing tension from shoulders and back. The flickering light created dancing shadows on the logs of the cabin walls, while outside the moon steadily progressed across the sky. Now and then, a log in the fireplace shifted, sending up a shower of sparks that glimmered briefly before fading into the orange coals. Reflecting on the day's gentle rhythms, Rowan remembered the early morning mist that had hovered over the river, the midday sun that had lit up the edges of the peaks, and the comforting hush that had descended at dusk. In the quiet of this moment, the mind felt light, free of clamor. Thoughts drifted to the vast silence of the glaciers that once carved these valleys, the slow dance of each season, and the timelessness of the mountains that watched over everything. Time passed in a gentle haze. It might have been minutes or hours. Here, such distinctions lost their urgency. Eventually, Rowan felt a pleasant heaviness in the eyelids, that soft pull that suggests the world of sleep is near. With a soft sigh, Rowan stood up, stretching slowly to bring warmth and ease into each limb. Extinguishing the lantern by the fireplace, Rowan carried the other small lantern through the snug cabin hallway to a simple bedroom. The walls here were lined with smooth wooden paneling, the bed neatly made with thick quilts, and a soft, downy pillow. Through the single window, the glow of moonlight filtered in, highlighting a broad windowsill filled with smooth stones and feathers collected during walks in the surrounding forest. Rowan set the lantern on a bedside table, its muted glow forming a pool of light that reached out to softly illuminate the peaceful space. Carefully pulling back the covers, Rowan slipped into bed, sighing gently as the warm quilts embraced weary limbs. Outside, the hush of the mountain evening reigned, and the quiet seemed to flow through the walls, inviting the body and mind to match its serene pulse. For a moment, Rowan gazed at the ceiling, focusing on the subtle play of light that flickered there from the lantern's glow. Thoughts became softer and slower. The bed felt secure, like a safe harbor after a tranquil journey. In these final moments before fully succumbing to rest, Rowan's mind wandered to the first time stepping foot in Banff, and the feeling of immediate belonging that had blossomed in the heart. The memory was as gentle as a lullaby, a sweet recollection that brought comfort and calm. Reaching over to the bedside table, Rowan extinguished the lantern. In the darkness, the faint sheen of moonlight continued to caress the wooden floor and the corner of the bed, a soft, pale illumination that felt both magical and soothing. Eyes grew heavy, lulled by the silence. With one last slow breath, Rowan slipped into deep, restful slumber while the mountains stood sentinel outside, cradling this small cabin in their protective arms. Beyond the cabin, the night carried on quietly. Stars shimmered above the jagged silhouettes of the peaks, and the forest breathed in slow rhythms, as if in harmony with the drift of nocturnal creatures. In a distant valley, a gentle breeze murmured through a cluster of aspen trees, their leaves quivering in the moonlight like little silver bells. Far off, the silhouette of a deer moved with graceful caution toward a meadow where dew gathered on the tall grass. Each moment was hushed, unhurried, part of a grand tapestry of dusk settling into midnight. Here, in the stillness, all living things seemed cradled by the land's enduring gentleness. Morning would eventually come, bringing with it the light of dawn, the chorus of birds, and the slow brightening of the eastern sky. Yet for now, time slept in the embrace of night, and a profound peace radiated outward from every corner of the park. That same peace wrapped itself around Rowan's resting form, ensuring that each breath led further into quiet, rejuvenating dreams. As the hours crept forward, the moon's position changed overhead. The silvered beams that once fell through the cabin window drifted across the bedroom floor, shifting from one corner to another as the night matured. The embers in the fireplace glowed faintly in the other room, a subtle reminder of the warmth and comfort that had filled the space. Outside, a few more stars twinkled into view, while others slipped beyond the horizon. In this realm of star-filled silence, even time seemed to pause, as if reluctant to break the spell of the velvet night. And in that pause, everything was at peace. Mountains, forest, river, and sky. One might sense a gentle harmony enveloping the valley, the universal lullaby that transcended words. The small cabin remained content in its solitude, a beacon of warmth beneath the moon's watchful eye. Soft as a whisper, the night breathed and drifted, a lullaby of nature's own making. When at last the quiet hours grew long, the deep hush showed no signs of fading. Instead, it sweetened, like a final hush before the earliest birds find their voices. In the cabin, Rowan slumbered, breathing slow and deep, lost in a world of peaceful dreams. Outside, the forest's gentle choir maintained its subtle hush, each creature at rest, or gliding through the shadows with graceful ease. Stars glowed steadily in the endless firmament, shining over mountaintops that had seen countless nights, countless dawns, and held them all with timeless, patient wonder. As the moon began its gentle descent, a stillness imbued the air that felt almost sacred. The wide slopes and deep valleys of Banff seemed wrapped in an ancient lullaby, a soothing hush that transcended any noise or distraction. The forest floor exhaled a faint, cool mist, and the peaks stood tall and silent beneath the shimmering sky. It was a dreamlike moment, one that asked for no witness, demanding nothing more than quiet acceptance. Here was night as a soft cloak, gently draped over the land and all its residents. In that quiet cloak, the timelessness of Banff took on an almost otherworldly quality. Even the river, which usually babbled on its course, seemed hushed, its waters slipping gently around stones in a muted symphony. No rush, no urgency, only a calm flow toward distant lakes and broader horizons. The half-light that lingered over the peaks and forests added to the enchantment, a sign that the world was resting, recovering from the day's energy, and preparing for another sunrise. Perhaps this is why, in Banff, so many find a sense of rest and reverence. Something about the mountains fosters peace, with their steadfast presence reminding every passing soul that the heartbeat of nature endures beyond any fleeting worry. And within that enduring calm, all who pause to listen may find themselves resting as well, lulled by ancient stones and whispered winds. The old spruce tree near which Rowan sat earlier now stands silent, branches unmoving in the near perfect stillness, as though quietly standing guard for any soul that seeks shelter in its shadow. Back inside the cabin, the fire in the hearth has reduced to a soft glow, the last sparks flickering among the ashes. The warmth remains, gently radiating through the wooden floors and into the small bedroom. Under thick quilts, Rowan sleeps with a gentle expression, lips parted slightly, eyes closed in peaceful slumber. The hush is so complete that Rowan's slow, steady breaths seem to merge with the subdued hum of the night. If one were to peek through the window, only the faint silhouette of sleeping figures in the shape of sturdy log walls would be visible, the interior lit by a dreamy half-light cast from the moon's glow. Occasional shadows slide across the walls as the moon shifts, but nothing disturbs the resting occupant of the cabin, nor does it interrupt the meditative pace of the forest. As the night drifts on, all remains still, as if the land itself wishes to linger in this serene moment. Eventually, a soft gradient begins to form on the eastern horizon, but for now, it is still the realm of night, and the sleeping hours are at their most profound. In that mystical quiet, even the stars take on a deeper twinkle, shimmering in the crisp mountain air. Here and there, the quiet hush of creatures stirring might be heard, a fox padding softly through undergrowth, or an owl pivoting its head in search of a final midnight meal. These movements are gentle, woven into the tapestry of calm that the velvet night provides. Thoughts, if they surface in dreams, remain gentle and hushed. Perhaps Rowan's mind wanders through imagined meadows or drifts across mountain slopes lit by ethereal moonlight. Perhaps old memories find their way into sleeping visions of youthful adventures through rolling hills, or the first time the turquoise waters of Lake Louise were glimpsed from a hidden vantage point. In that state of dreamful rest, all things are possible, and all is carried by the tranquil undertow of Banff's embracing hush. And so it continues through the late hours, while the land and its gentle inhabitants enjoy the nourishing lull of a mountain night. Gradually, as the stars overhead shift, a sense of anticipation stirs, but it is faint, like the softest chord in a lullaby's final notes. night still reigns, long and deep, ensuring that every creature, every living thing has time to rest and renew, cradled by the ancient mountains that keep silent watch. Within the cabin, the stillness is absolute. The last glowing embers in the fireplace pulse their final light, and the logs, so bright and crackling just hours before, now rest in a subtle warmth that lingers gently. The aroma of pine smoke has blended into a background fragrance that clings to wooden beams and thick woolen blankets like a comforting memory. Shadows no longer dance but recline, soft and unmoving across walls and floor. The hush in each room is matched by the hush outside, and if one stands still enough, even the rhythm of the heart might seem to blend with the slow and steady breath of the sleeping forest. Without rush or disturbance, time moves forward. Dreams unfold in the quiet cradle of night. In another hour or more, the first hint of dawn will begin its ascent, painting the sky in subtle shades of blue and pearl. A few birds, perhaps the earliest risers of the forest, will test the silence with a timid chirp. But until then, the hush endures, thick as velvet, rich with the promise of rest. And in that hush, the heart finds its deepest calm. As the spell of night deepens further, all that matters is the next slow breath, the next gentle rise and fall of a resting chest. This is a sanctuary of slumber, one that requires nothing but surrender. The land asks only that one be still, and in that stillness, find the well springs of peaceful respite. Banff's velvet evening so full of moonlight and stars, of soft breezes and silent woodland floors, welcomes all who seek a moment of true rest. Hours pass in this hush, until at last the subtle glow on the horizon promises a new day's approach. Still, the night holds fast for a moment longer, as if reluctant to release such a perfect lullaby. In the cabin, the occupant remains at peace, undisturbed by any change outside. That is the power of a velvet evening in the mountains. It cradles those within its embrace, bestowing a rare and profound sense of renewal. Soon enough, the sky will lighten, the mountains will reappear in dawn's gentle glow, and life in the forest will stir again. But for now, let it all remain a quiet tapestry of starlight and whispered wind, an invitation to drift deeper into rest. If the mind wanders, it wanders softly, content to remain among the gentle shapes and muted colors of dream. Warmth, safety, and stillness reign over each moment, ushering every traveler into the arms of peaceful sleep. May this cozy mountain tale lull the spirit and hush the thoughts. May the gentle image of a cabin light flickering by a forest edge spark serenity in any heart that desires rest. And may the comforting hush of Banff's velvet evenings wrap like a protective blanket around body and mind, allowing every care to dissolve into the night air. In this soft realm, only calm remains, leading the way to a tender, healing slumber. So let every breath come more slowly now, each exhale releasing tension, each inhale drawing in the calm of mountains and moonlight. The hush grows, enveloping all sensation in a soothing drift. Thoughts float away on a tranquil current, dissolving into quiet darkness. The mind drifts, the body rests, and stillness rules, whispering that it's time for sleep. All is well in this velvet night. In the embrace of ancient peaks and moonlit valleys, you are safe. You are allowed to let go completely, to sink into the warmth of your bed, the softness of your blankets, the hush of the nighttime hush. There is nothing left to do. Let the gentle lullaby of Banff's calm remain in your heart, guiding you gently into the deepest relaxation. No more thinking, only resting. No more worries, only the soothing presence of a nurturing land. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well